So if you have the power to create the kind of relationship dynamic that you'd like in a marriage, what are your feelings on monogamy or polyamory or the different constructs that can exist in a marriage?
Well, given the fact that, as I was saying, you get to create your own definition of marriage as long as your partner is in agreement with you. Society doesn't have to be in agreement with you, but your partner certainly does. Then basically there is no limitation to how you create that. So the arrangement, the constellation, that you create is completely yours to do so with. I mean, first of all, humans are clearly biologically not in any way, shape, or form monogamous. If there's really no evidence that we are monogamous biologically, and matter of fact, the amount of evidence that suggests that we are in fact, again, polyamory is a defined construct, but to say that we are an animal that has no real tie to the idea of commitment to a single partner, is just basically, it's self-evident in the way that we biologically behave as males, females, our tendencies. The male tendency, of course, is to procreate. Even the shape of the male penis is designed to enter the vagina and pull. The head is designed to pull sperm from any competing males that have been there before him. So, I mean, the entire biological structure of a male, in the way that they think, is about populating as many, spreading seed, of course, and populating their troop. For if you're an ape, your group, I guess, if you're a Homo sapien, but to populate your group, with your seed, and that's just the general tendency that it's been observed time and time again. It's very clear that monogamy is a construct of necessity that we created in order to, in marriage. Because marriage is the contract that basically defines monogamy. That this is a monogamous. The conditions are monogamy.
Yeah.
That certainly didn't come because it's evident in nature that we're just inclined to pick a partner and be with them until death do us part, and have no sexual inclinations towards any other partners, female or male. It's clearly not true. But if you look at the rate of success in marriage, if it were a business, it would be out of business a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
It would. There's no business out there that operates off of the kind of success and failure and the margins that marriage operates off of. I believe it's, something like 50% of marriages fail, and it's such a small success rate that if you were, again, to view it through the filter of any other construct, because I'm going to call marriage a construct. If you were to view it through that filter, I think you would say, "Wow, this is a failure. It only has a 50% success rate. It's obviously not performing very well."
Yeah.
So, and people can say, "Oh," people can make up all kinds of reasons why marriage is failing. Besides the fact that we're just probably, if you were to just be really objective about it, we're just not designed to be monogamous. And if we were to reinvent the idea, if we were to reapproach it, if we were to reimagine it, it probably would not look the way that it looks. Because the suggestion is in a marriage that you come together and then you place all of your expectations and your needs and your your desires on another person until the day you die.
Right.
This is what's implied.
Yeah.
And it's so comically and tragically unrealistic that you could ever do that to another person or have that done to you. You just fail. It's impossible to do it. And the very few people are satisfied in long-term marriages. Even when they do in fact stay together, there tends to be a high rate of depression or dissatisfaction or affairs where so how many people actually have had some type of extramarital affair in order to relieve the tension of being in some way committed to a single person, emotionally, sexually, creatively, physically, and from a business standpoint. Like, the implications are just so big that I mean, put it this way: you don't even stay with your own parents that long. And a lot of people don't understand that. It's like you're with your parents for 18 to 20 years, and then you leave.
Right.
What's implied here is that you stay with this other person from the time let's just say you get married young, from the time you're 20 to the time you're 80. I mean, that's, you're talking 60 years. You don't stay with your family for 60 years, living in the same home. And again, you really need to wrap your head around this. Even when you are with your family, you still have a certain amount of autonomy.
Yeah.
So you still have a outside boyfriend or girlfriend. You have friends. A marriage implies that this person's going to be your all-in-one.
Yeah.
It's your best friend. It's your lover. It's your mommy. It's your dad. I mean, there's just so much pressure on people in marriages that understanding why they don't fail is really, really, or why they don't succeed, why they fail is really easy.
Yeah.
It's very, very, it's very simple math. It's not complex. It's not trying to, crack some type of genetic code. It's just basically looking at, you put, it's a social experiment. You put two people in this particular condition, and then you place these expectations and this, and here's what happens over and over and over and over again. So I think that there has to be room for reinventing and reimagining how we cohabitate and how we marry one another, what marriage looks like. If that definition needs to expand to include more than one couple, different sexual preferences, different, gender. I mean, again, male, female. I knew a couple that, two men, and they had met a third man, and they invited him to come in and be in their marriage, and the three of them live together, and they're still living together and in a relationship. So it's like it can be in any constellation you want to create. There's no limitations to this. Polyamory, you need to understand something. It's been socially imprinted on our Western, and I'm going to speak for the West specifically, on our Western conscience that you being with one person is what that's a sign of real love.
Right.
And being with two or three people, well, you can't love two or three people. Sure, you can. Of course you can. Of course you can be deeply in love with more than one person. Of course you can. I mean, to say you're not deeply in love with more than one person now in different ways, to say you can't hold space, I just think that too many people confuse love and sexuality, and they're not the same.
Right. Sexuality
is the exchange, of a carnal nature. It's physical exchange. Love is an action. It's something you do. So showing up for somebody every day and working through difficulty and being by their side, that's an act of love. Making love to somebody is not an act of love. It can be. You can frame it as such, but here's the thing. You can also frame it in a completely different way. In other words, when you masturbate, the great question is, are you masturbating because you are showing yourself how much you love you? No, you're just experiencing pleasure.
Right.
So pleasure is what sexuality, the exchange of sex, the exchange of pleasure through sex, is what it's really about. To limit it to only being something that you do because you're in love, or because or that love, like committed love, has to be present for you to enjoy sex. None of these things are true. And so as much as people want to spread this misinformation, these are beliefs.
Right.
They're not based in fact. So you spread away if misinformation, because why not? It's 20th century, and everybody seems to be more interested in what they want to hear than what is in fact accurate science. They want opinion rather than science.
Yeah.
Science says that there is no such thing as monogamy, proven monogamy in this creature. Science says that there's no demonstration that sexuality and love have to be they can't be interdependent. They have to depend on one another in order for the other to be existing and present. That's clearly not true.
Right.
So, I'm not sure how we got here. You can go through all of the different historical occurrences that sort of shaped the way culture understands marriage, and you could understand it. But okay, great, yes, great, we understand how we got here. What's more important is, what are we going to do to shape the future? How are we going to start changing things? So the first thing that has to stop is doing the same thing the same way, looking for a different outcome.
Right.
Because it's not. That's obviously the very definition of insanity and just ignorance. It's ignorant to do something the same way and expect to get a different outcome just because you keep saying to yourself, well, maybe we didn't do it right. Maybe we didn't do it right millions and millions and millions of times. No, maybe the actual construct is wrong. The building materials are wrong.
Yeah.
The blueprint is wrong. The architecture is wrong. That's what's producing such poor results. And that's where you start. You go back and you say, we need to reimagine how we can live together and enjoy ourselves and have less conflict and less pain and less suffering, and enjoy what's possible by not limiting what's possible, not entering into this relationship, into this contract already with these fixed ideas about what marriage should be and isn't. What you have to do is expand those definitions and expand your perception to accommodate growth and change and discovery. Super important.
Yeah.